Hi there, my name is Terry Massey. Welcome to Social Media Question and Answer session. Um, Depending on the interaction, this could be a 15 to 20 minute session. It could go a little bit longer. My goal is to hit about a half hour in this, and I'm recording this for posterity's sake as well because I'm going to cross post it to my YouTube channel. I'm taking the questions in a variety of formats. You can send it in via a email, which would be to send it into q@13letter.com, THIRTEENLETTER.com, or you can also put it into the comments of the live social media feed, and I have it going in the window, so if I'm looking over here all the time, it's because I'm looking at the Facebook feed to see the live comments so that I can answer them for you. My name is Terry Massey. I'm the owner of 13 Letter. I've been running this company as an event and image management company for the better part of 20 years. And we started working in social media probably about 10 years ago, around 2007, so maybe 12 years ago. And the first platforms I started working on for clients was with Facebook, and then eventually Twitter, and then eventually Instagram. And there are some social media platforms that predate that. LinkedIn existed before those three did, as well as YouTube, but I don't think people realized how those three platforms could help their brands and help build their brands. LinkedIn you could, but YouTube I don't think has really been considered that. And I think people miss it a lot in the conversation of building your brands, and I think it's very, very effective. But I started out with Facebook, worked with Twitter, and I've worked with Instagram, and I've worked with the new platforms like TikTok and Snapchat, and I follow the mindset that you have to always experiment and always play with them, because the greatest asset you have with social media is that for the most part it's free, and what it takes is your time and your investment in learning the platform. And that's part of the reason I wanted to start doing these question and answers, because there are some knowledge I can bring to it, and if I don't have the knowledge to answer the questions for people, I'd like to point them in the right direction of answering those questions. You're going to see me touch towards the screen because that's also where I have some of my assets for this, and you're going to see it. Me touching at the screen, and it won't make any sense. So that's why you're gonna see it that way too. It's fun because this is the first live. I'm doing it by myself, and I could have had some people help me with it. I wanted it to be very, very organic and be able to do it anywhere. So if I take a short holiday with my family and I need a half hour to do the question and answer, I could do it from anywhere and do it from anywhere in the world. And when you're running a business, that's one of the beauties about social media, is that you have that ability to manage your social media for your company anywhere in the world. One of my first experiences with really successful live social media that I undertook was back when I worked for the then Credit Union Center, and now the SaskTel Center, was doing a live play-by-play of a Western Hockey League game featuring the Saskatoon Blades, and I can't remember who the opponent was, but basically did live tweet updates of what was happening in the game. And it was one of the first times, I believe even there were several teams in the Western Hockey League that didn't even have Twitter. And you started to see it the next season that all of them were incorporating and using social media as part of their strategy to reach their fan base and reach sponsors and clientele, and it was an easy way to thank their sponsors and their clientele and to promote their players. That was one of my first experiences with effective social media. Another with Facebook. I am the father of twin 11-year-olds, and part of our journey, we have friends and family all over the world, and we would share almost every 10-year memory that we have come up is from when they were infants. So part of my evolution on this is to bring it to my clients, and through the history of 13 Letter, we have had clients that are restaurants, realtors, business developers, home builders, and even personalities. My twin 11-year-olds have become sort of personalities with their social media following. Probably my most successful client on Instagram is a client named Ironstone Homes. They're a home builder here in Regina. They started in Calgary. They build beautiful new properties. They do amazing renovations, and they have some of the most photogenic properties even while they're being built and while they're in progress. So they create a lot of content, and part of the message is that they are a bit different from every other home builder in this market. Because of the process that they use, the way that they approach a clientele. So it's an easy story to tell. And that's the great thing about social media for you as a brand or as a company or as an individual. It's how you can tell your story. And that's what differentiates it. In the old days when you had radio, well, you still have radio and TV and print, you'd actually mount very, very expensive campaign before you would see any results. Terry O'Reilly has a great idea, is that you should have a strategy and then you develop tactics. Social media, you should do the same thing, where you have a strategy of what your goals are that you want to accomplish, but social media allows you to change your tactics instantly. If a certain color theme isn't working and you find you're not having your customers react, you can change it. If the way that you're writing for clients isn't working, you change the way that you're writing. The images that you're working, if you find that you're getting no reaction to the images or to the videos that you're using, you can try new ones. And when you find one that is working, you can continue to use it until it runs its useful lifespan. One of the things I wanted to touch on here with the question and answer too was best practices. One of the things that I find is most effective for every client and as part of the initial strategy build for content is consistency. People become associated and fans of your brand when you're posting consistently. And you have to, when you build your strategy, think how often can you effectively post content? Whether it's new content or you're planning to repeat that content, what do you plan to do with it? And that's one thing that I always encourage. The easiest way to build a brand is to start consistently posting content. From there, it builds out there. You start to see when you're consistency, you can go back and you can look through your history and you can see which tactics work. And then you can take that tactic and build upon that tactic. I'm actually looking at my hands and going, ooh, this is fun to do. So, great thing about live video too. I always encourage, and the one thing that you also find with consistency is you find which platforms you need to have your consistency more on. And what I mean by that is maybe you see more traffic by doing 3 posts a week on Twitter, or 3 posts a week on Facebook compared to 1 post a week on Facebook, or you have to post 5 times a week on Facebook as opposed to 1 or 3 times, or you have to post twice a day, depending on what your business is. That's what will affect your consistency when it comes to your social media content. I always encourage that. Find out what your consistency has to be. You know, if you're running a restaurant, you may want to have 3 posts a day, depending on what your meal structure at your restaurant is. If your rush is your lunch and your dinner crowd, then maybe it's 2 posts. Post mid-morning before people have made their lunch plans, or the night before, to say our lunch special is this, and then mid-afternoon at 2 o'clock, this is what our supper special would be. This actually gives you an advantage as a restaurant, because should a supplier not bring in something that you wanted, you can adjust on the fly. But in other realms too, with a realtor, it also depends, from past experience with that, is you have to have that inventory of homes that are in your ability to showcase. So that's a once a day post. Unless maybe you have 20 homes that you're selling at the same time. Well, then maybe you want to do 4 posts a day to show the different homes. And I'm not generalizing to one platform when I'm saying this, but you should be looking at that. So from another best practice that I talk about too is stay on brand. If you look at what is presented to you right now on the screen, my color structure is red, white, and black. and you'll notice that all of the elements that are here is, it's a consistency of staying on brand, is that everything I'm presenting on the screen, except for where I'm doing my video, and in all of this right here, and the logo, red, white, and black. It's that consistency with your color scheme too. Then and if it's not working, that your consistency of brand with your colors and everything like that is working, and you can check that, and that's just changing your tactics to different color schemes. One of the other ones too is that if there's something that matters to you, and this is maybe more Twitter specific or Facebook specific, if there's an item or an action item that's out there in the news and your company should react to it, and I think to my home builder or my realtor clients that I've had is that we just had the stress test for mortgages changed. Well, that's something that they should maybe address. Now it's easier for you to buy a home. Maybe it's easier for you to build a new home. That's something that they could comment and make a positive comment that actually affects their business with it. From here, I also wanted to talk on some pet peeves that I have when it comes to social media. And the first one that I have is when people post from Instagram to Twitter. I've actually spoken to this about a couple of people that weren't even clients and said, why do you keep just posting, using that very convenient post feature that you have on Instagram where you can link all your social accounts and just make one Instagram post, send it out to everything. There's a strategic weakness to that because Instagram really wants to keep you within their realm. But here's a short video that I put together to show you a quick tutorial on how you can also do something really quickly where you can use Instagram to post to Twitter and nobody would even know that you're doing it. So I'm going to give you a quick tutorial on how to make your Instagram posts look like native Twitter posts. I'm really tired of seeing Instagram posts on Twitter that look like this. So a long time ago, I found a service that will actually take your Instagram post, create it, and post it to Twitter for you without having to use Instagram to do it. It's a service that's called IFTT. And what the service is it's called If This, Then That. If This, Then That does a lot of things, but it's a favorite of mine for one simple thing, is that I use it for a couple of purposes. One is that I use it to thank Twitter followers for several social media channels that I look after. But I also use it to send my personal Instagram posts of photos only to Twitter, because sometimes I'm just too busy to repackage them or too lazy. So this is a good way to do it without having that go look at Instagram to see what's going on there thing. So let's just go take a look. I'm on If This, Then That. I already have an account, but you see when you sign up, you can use your email, you can use your Google account, or you can use your Facebook account. So let's just see which one that I have. I have my personal one there. The login details were already there, but you can see the services I already have connected. I have a blogger page, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Buffer, which is a social media tool that I use, and some other ones that it'll allow you to do. Facebook, Foursquare, Google Docs, Google Drive. They have many services, but the one I'm going to show you is, and you can search through If This, Then That. It's pretty comprehensive for the formulas or the recipes, as they call it, to do it. And I'm just going to show you what it does. I'm going to do a more in-depth tutorial about this, but here's the Instagram one. Any new photo by me on Instagram, then post a tweet with the image to Terry Massey. And it's a really simple applet, right? And I can edit it to show you that you can see what it does. Any new photo, it posts a tweet with the image. And you can actually put other things in there, and it gives you ingredients that you can add into it. It's really great. Really love it. You just have to know the ingredients. The great thing when I discovered this is that there were a ton of recipes, as If This, Then That calls them, that were there that you can use and just copy it to your profile to do. So that's how it was easy for me to get away from having my native Instagram photos appear as an Instagram link below. Because if you're on Twitter, you want to keep people on your Twitter profile. If you're on Instagram, You've seen that they don't have any links that will take you anywhere other than other people's profiles or to hashtags. So they don't take you outside the service. And that's why when they post from Instagram to Twitter, they want to bring you back to Instagram. Welcome back. That's a great thing about this, is that it doesn't show me how much time I have left playing on that video. But that was just really a quick Instagram to Twitter tutorial. I really, as you can see in the video, there's many people that use that where they just go from Instagram straight to Twitter because it's convenient. And you can't ever downplay convenience when it comes to things like that. So there are ways to do it. And, you know, I fully encourage, if you're looking for what that program is, it's simply called If This Then That, IFTTT.com. And you can connect all of your social media platforms and some other services with it too. I use If This Then That with one Twitter account where it actually posts the weather twice a day. And the account has over 150 followers just from people that are getting Twitter updates about the weather. Which, you know, I'm sure you could sign up to other Twitter updates, but this just one account gets that much traffic from it. So another pet peeve that I have with Instagram is people that cross-post to Facebook and they heavy on the hashtags. You got to watch that, because when you're looking at Facebook, sometimes the hashtags are just not as efficient as they are on other platforms. So when you cross-post like that, they'll either get truncated where you'll be missing text if you did it to Twitter or with Facebook, where the hashtags just kind of sit there, or that they leave in the tag. And especially when you go over to Facebook, it doesn't translate the @ tag to that user. So you've just lost somebody like that. And I think the bigger problem with it is that you are doing it and you're trying to bring it naturally brings people back to the Instagram platform, and you've lost them on that native platform where you had them, whether it was Facebook or Twitter. So like I said, if you have any questions, do post them here in the comments on Facebook Live, and I will get to them as soon, we'll answer them as quickly as possible. Now, some of the other social media platforms, because I got about 10 minutes left here that I wanted to talk about. The one that's really struck me, and I've been a fan of it for the better part of about 12 or 13 years, is podcasts, is how much popularity they've gained in last 2 or 3 years. And there's some originators, as I call them, on podcasting. One that springs to mind immediately from the old Tech TV days is Leo Laporte. He's created a virtual podcast monopoly out of San Francisco, just speaking about the tech sector, and they're producing new content every day on podcasts. Some of the ones that I enjoy, I love listening to Jay and Dan on TSN, because it's not just a sports podcast like you have with either Spitting Chicklets or 31 Thoughts or some other hockey podcasts. They're very popular in our house, the hockey podcast, because my one son is very into hockey, and he likes hearing the different pundits speak about it in that regard. But it's also a good way to communicate about your brand locally. Rebellion Brewing runs their own podcast, and it's not just about what they're doing with beer, but it's a very community-based podcast, and how Rebellion interacts in the community with different events, different causes, different community groups, different art events, different musicians. It's really a great way to cross-promote their brand as a sponsor, but also highlight what's going on in the community surrounding this brand. And I find that a very effective way to use that podcast. Another one, and I spoke about it a little bit earlier in this, was YouTube. And I really think that there's still a 700-pound gorilla when it comes to video services online. There's nobody else that has the power or the depth of service that has gone into YouTube. Even with Google acquiring them, Google is making untold amount of money from the people that view videos on YouTube. There's some people that have cut their cable just because everything they want to watch is on YouTube. And to have your brand out there, it's one of the ones too where the consistency really, really pays off. You have to be consistent on YouTube. You have to be putting up content regularly. I'm very negligent with the 13-letter YouTube channel. These videos will start going up there. I do have some past content I've got to get back up there. A lot of it, though, I used YouTube in, maybe it's the wrong way, but they were tutorials for clients to teach them how to do things, interacting either with technology that I provided for them or with technology that they needed to use and I knew how to use it, but they weren't close by, so it wasn't readily or easily available for me to just pop over and show them how to use it. So I would place these tutorials on YouTube and they would just use them from there. So that's one way that I used YouTube as a communication tool, but also the consistent videos. You look at YouTube creators like Casey Neistat or Peter McKinnon, or even Gary Vaynerchuk, who they use it very, very effectively. And in the cases of McKinnon and Casey Neistat and even Mr. Beast have become immensely popular stars. I kind of joke that the WWE has 50 million subscribers on YouTube, and they basically just repackage clips from their weekly episodic television and place it on YouTube, and are making millions of dollars every month off YouTube from these videos. Now, whether they leverage that and exchange of getting paid as a creator and are leveraging that back into Facebook ads to drive people, YouTube ads, and driving that back to people to watch their product is hard to say. I'm not in the boardroom, so I don't know. Another thing that I'll seg from YouTube now, and I want to get back to, and I think it's being greatly missed, and it's, the oldest form of marketing. It's kind of that bridge between social media and traditional marketing of radio, TV, and print, is email marketing. And I think it's still got to be a staple of business. Like I said earlier, I have a son who's very addicted to hockey, and in the market that we live in, I find that the hockey preparation people, or the instructors for the camps that teach power skating and skills, they're very deficient in how they communicate with you. The one power skating instructor he works with is very efficient with using his email mailing list. There's also another power skating instructor we've never worked with. I consistently get emails from to book into his camps, and but the other companies that I know have been collecting email addresses, or I've registered with them through email addresses, don't use this as a marketing tool. And I kind of latched onto this idea that they should be using it more effectively, because meeting a young mother who had moved here from another market and was looking for her son to participate in these camps and with these instructors, and just didn't know how to find any information on them, because they're not using social media effectively, they're not using email marketing effectively. They're basically putting posters up at hockey rinks and hoping to reach the crowd. Well, not every parent has the time to go to the community rink to see what posters might be available about the available camps. And I'll be approaching a couple of companies about my services to help them grow their brands. But even I've started an email mailing list, which you can subscribe to. It's just bit.ly/13, the number, capital E, mail. And you join that, and there's going to be 13 Thoughts Weekly, which is just 13 thoughts on social media I'm going to share. And they should be helpful business tips and tricks for people to stay in touch with stuff. And I hope to generate more questions for the question and answer portion, and hopefully in the next one we're going to see some more comments and some more questions and build on it from there. I'm going to start to wrap this up because we're hitting about 26 and a half minutes of me just talking and waving my hands up in the air. So it's time to kind of sign off on this episode of it, and we'll probably be back in about 2 weeks to do the next question and answer session. Look forward on all of my social media channels, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. And if you have questions between now and then, start sending them to me at q@13letter.com. Thanks. Have a great day.